What up, you guys? Today, we're talking color grading. I'm going to show you my exact process on how I color graded my most recent spec commercial that I shot here in my kitchen. Let's get into Resolve. Quick disclaimer before we get started, I'm going to be using my own Hawkstra Powergrade that I use on every project. You can pick it up, first link in the description, or just follow along with your own node tree. It really doesn't matter. So we got 4 clips on the timeline. As you can tell, they're in log, so they look terrible right now. But that's the first step, is color correction. We want to make these clips look as close to real life as possible. So to do that, I'm going to head over to my power grades and I'm going to select my Hawkstra Power Grade. Just right click and apply the grade. So with my power grade applied, it's converted everything from S-Log3 over into Rec. 709, so I can visually see the image and see what colors I'm working with, what exposure is doing, and all of that. If you're not using my Hawkstra Power Grade or are unfamiliar with the process, what you'll need to do is add in a color space transform by going to Effects and searching for color space transform and changing the settings to match your camera, and then the output color space should be the DaVinci Wide Gamut and DaVinci Intermediate. This is Editor Porter from the future. I forgot to mention that if you are building your own node tree, you will need to add a second CST node at the very end of your node tree. In this CST, you want your input color space to be DaVinci Wide Gamut, your input gamma to be DaVinci Intermediate, your output color space to be Rec. 709, and your output gamma to be gamma 2.4. Now that I've got my power grade applied, we can see what's going on with this image. We've converted it from S-Log3 to Rec. 709, and now we know what we're working with. I'm looking at it right now. It's a little underexposed. It's too blue. There's some work that needs to be done. So I'm going to jump right into my white balance and exposure node number 2. And I'm going to head to my HDR wheels. Right now I'm looking at my waveform and I can tell that all this information is squashed to the bottom of that waveform. That means it's too dark. So I'm going to go ahead and raise my global exposure just a little bit. That's looking better. It's looking brighter now. It's looking a little blown out to me on the product itself, so I'm going to drop the light just a bit. I'll drop the shadows as well to add some contrast, and the darks as well. So it's looking better. It still needs some work. I'm going to add a little bit more global exposure. And the name of the game here is to just play with it until it looks good. So that's good for now. The exposure is better. We'll do before and after, and we brighten that image up a lot. To adjust our white balance, we're going to head to the primary wheels, change our scopes to the vector scope, and then we're going to go to the offset wheel and just push a little bit more yellow and orange into that image. And right there, it looks a lot more balanced to me. Let's do a before and after, and it's looking a lot better. We're going to head over to the next node number 3, our contrast node, and still inside our primary wheels, I'm going to drag this contrast slider up. Just taking out some of that gray and that fuzz and really making the lights and the darks more punchy. Now you can use the contrast wheel, but I'll also mess around with my gain slider as well as my overall offset to add exposure. Just playing around with that, seeing what I like, a little before and after. You can see how much punch that contrast has added into this shot. And at this point, I think we're at a pretty real life image. Like, I remember how this shot looked when I shot it, and this is pretty close to what it looked like. So we've done our color correction, and it's time to move on to the second step, color grading. All right, the first thing we're gonna do when creating a look for this image is we're gonna head to node 15. This is the creative LUT node. Now, a lot of people use LUTs, me included, and I have a few of my own that I like to use from time to time. So in this node, you can apply any Rec. 709 LUT that you want and see kind of how it looks and what it does to your image. So I'm gonna go up to my LUTs and I'm just gonna scroll through and apply some of them. So there's my Earth LUT. Obviously, we're not going black and white on this. Pine looks pretty good, but I like this gold LUT. I'm gonna right click and apply LUT to current node. And that's a before and after. So what this LUT is doing is just bringing the natural wood, the natural browns out in this image. And that's really what we're going for here. So I'm liking that. I'll probably drop the key output down in the key tab. I always do that. Just kind of blend the LUT in a little bit. Before and after, that is looking good. Now that we've added our LUT, you could be done, but I'm gonna jump into this further and show you exactly what I did on this project. So I'm gonna jump into this split tone node, and this is a compound node. So go ahead and double click it, and you'll see this craziness inside of here. And once you've clicked inside of that split toning node, you'll see that there's a lot of stuff in there. We're not gonna go over what exactly this node is and how to create it in this video, but comment down below if you want a video on that, and I'll walk you through how to set something up like this and how it works. The main thing to know with this split toning node is you're not gonna touch any of the nodes except node number 6, the color cast node. So with the color cast node selected, go back to your primary wheels and grab your gain. And this is where you can make color input changes. So I'm gonna drag this a little warmer. I want that warm vibe. All right, and this is before and after. As you can see, with that split toning node, we just warmed up the color palette essentially, and it looks really good in my opinion. A few final touches here. We have these 3 nodes. This is halation, glow, and noise reduction. These are tools that I'll use on a per project basis. Like if I need noise reduction, I'll use it. I usually don't, but I'm gonna add some glow to this because I really wanna accentuate and highlight the product. So let's enable that node, go over to the effects, and we'll mess with our shine threshold here to see our glow effect. All right, so there, it's coming in really strong. So we're gonna dial that back. I like to go overboard and then bring it back so I can kind of see what's going on. All right, let's disable. Yeah, so that's way, way, way too strong. We're dialing that back. All right, I actually really, really like that look. And what it does is it just adds some extra spice to the image. Like looking at this image, you wouldn't be able to put your finger on what is like accentuating the product. But for me, that image versus with the glow, it's a night and day difference. So glow is a tool that I'll use occasionally to highlight certain things if it needs it. And with that glow effect applied, I think we're done with this clip. I'm really excited about how it looks. I love the look. I like the color palette. And we're gonna move on to clip number 2. But before we do, make sure you save this color grade. You'll just create a new stills album, right click, grab still. That will copy all the work you just did on that clip so you can put it on another clip. So let's move on to clip number 2. All right, here's clip number 2. We've got a close-up macro shot of the product itself, and we are just gonna pick the best frame to color grade. I like this one. We'll head up to our stills, right click, apply grade. And as you can see, we've done a lot of the heavy lifting up front on that first clip. And there are a few adjustments I wanna make here. One being the glow is too strong. So I'm just gonna disable that for now, and that's the last thing we'll add. I'm really liking how it looks. I might increase the exposure a little bit, so I'll head to node number 2, white balance and exposure, go to my HDR wheels, and we'll increase the overall exposure just a little bit. This background it almost looks gray to me, and I want it to look really dark. So I'm gonna go to my dark slider, pull that back. Not too much though, because it's affecting the darks on our product itself. All right, that looks good. Let's enable our glow again, and it's too strong. We'll go up here and we will dial it back. I really like that. It's a nice warm glow. It's not overdone. It's subtle. It's nice. I like it. Okay, let's also copy this one because I have a feeling it's going to work for the next shot. We'll head to shot number 3. And it's really important to find a good frame. Like, there's no point in color grading this first frame that I'm on now because it's just nothing. Like, nothing's in focus. So let's head to right about there. I like that frame. And let's right click and apply our grade. Okay. It's looking good, but there are things I want to change. For instance, this background, it's gray. It's not dark. It doesn't feel premium. So I'm going to head back up to node number 2, white balance and exposure, head back to my primaries, and I'm really going to drop those darks down. Oh yeah, there we go. So we're getting a really pure black in the background, and it just looks so good. I might even mess with my shadows a little bit. We want the shot to be pretty dramatic. That's looking so much better. Here's a before and an after on the white balance and exposure node. That's crazy. We've added so much contrast there. For our glow, let's turn that off and on. So it's not doing much, so I might put a little bit more glow in there. Again, we're gonna go past the point, so it's breaking apart. We don't want that. That looks horrible. Let's dial it back until we don't see any of that breakage. Very subtle glow. I think it looks really, really good. All right, that right there is clip number 3 done. All right, on to the 4th and final clip. This is the ending clip of the video. We're gonna right click and apply the grade that we've already done. And again, the glow, way too strong. I'm gonna disable that and we'll worry about that later. But the image looks pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead, go back to my waveform, and I'm just gonna mess with the levels on the exposure a little bit. Bring it down. I think this is too bright on the product itself, so I'll bring the levels down. Let's add a little bit more contrast by going to our primary wheels. Just like that. Maybe increase the gain, drop the offset. Okay, things are looking good so far. Let's add our glow back in. And we'll dial it down just a little bit. Awesome. Okay. And with just a few adjustments, we're finished with our 4th and final clip. Now, as you look at this power grade, you'll notice that there are nodes that we didn't touch in this grade. And I don't use every node on every color grade I do, but I'll run you through it. We have node number 4, which is our curves. In this node, we can go ahead and make adjustments to specific colors in our image. So let's say I selected this brown and I just wanted it to be a different shade of brown. I could do that and make those adjustments, and I can also make adjustments to the saturation on the brown. So let's desaturate it or oversaturate it. So that's the curves node. I'll use that. I honestly use it a lot. I just didn't on this project. Node number 5 is our vignette node. With this, we can add emphasis to something in the center of a screen. So we'll head to our window tab, click our circle, and then we will center that circle up and drag it out to the edges of the screen. Now we're going to invert that and just add a ton of softness. Now we'll head over to our primary wheels and we'll drop our gamma and our gain down about negative 0.01. Now we'll do a little before and after, before and after. So what the vignette does is just adds emphasis and draws your eyes into the center of the product. And I'm actually going to leave it on the grade because I like how it looks. These next 3 nodes, 6, 7, and 8, are power window nodes. I'm not going to use them, but you can select parts of your image that are overexposed or underexposed and make specific adjustments using power windows in those nodes. And that right there is how I color grade almost everything I work on. I really think color is such a worthwhile investment. Like, if you learn how to color grade something well, it will level up your video game to the next level. It really is so important. It is the visual aspect in film. If you guys have any questions or want me to go more in depth on anything you saw in this video, drop me a comment so I can know and I can make that video for you. Again, my power grade is going to be first link in the description. I'm going to be running an 80% off sale for the first week this video is live. So go ahead and grab it for yourself and support the channel. It really means a lot to me and I really appreciate it. Honestly, guys, the most important thing, more important than power grades, than LUTs, than really anything, even this video, is to try. You need to get out there and you need to color some clips. You need to color different scenes, different shots, different cameras, different color profiles. You need experience. So get out there, start trying new things, experiment with new techniques, new effects, new ways of doing things, and you'll grow, become a better cinematographer, better colorist, and your videos will look that much better. So get out there, start trying, make it happen.